Well, it's Wednesday, and I hope that everybody has had a good week so far. We've made it halfway through, and I hope that the rest of the week will go well for you also. And hopefully, everybody's able to get out tonight or sometime this week to gather together for Bible study with your church family. And tonight, on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, is when we meet here in Zephyr Hills. But what we've been studying on Wednesday night recently, as we've been studying through the book of Genesis, and I think I mentioned this last week in last week's spotlight, and or in one of last week's videos anyway, about Esau. But we've been studying about Isaac and Rebekah, and then Jacob and Esau and all of that. But there was something that always catches my attention, and many of us, I think, when we see the account of Isaac and Rebekah, especially, and that is something found in Genesis chapter 25, verse 28. After, God has blessed Rebekah and Isaac with children, Jacob and Esau are born, they grow up. We're actually told in verse 27 that the boys grew, and Esau, happened to become a skillful hunter, a man of the field. But Jacob was a mild or quiet man dwelling in tents. So, they all, each, Jacob and Esau, found what interested them. And it was different things. No big deal. We're not all the same. We all come to different interests and hobbies and talents and abilities, whatever the case may be. But then notice what verse 28 tells us. Verse 28 says, "And Isaac loved Esau because he ate of his game, but Rebekah loved Jacob." That seems to be pretty clear, pretty straightforward. That's an interesting way for this account to be written. And as far as I see it, as far as I can understand it, it's written that way for a reason, that what is being revealed to us, as I understand it, is Isaac and Rebekah had favoritism when it came to their children. Isaac seemed to favor and love and give preference to Esau, whereas Rebekah did so towards Jacob. And really, it's a sad thing to think about. And what we learn from this is, any of us as parents, any of us who are parents or have been parents, we know that this is not right. It is not right for parents to show favoritism towards any of their children. All children are going to have their own personalities and abilities and interests, but as parents, we love our children. We love our children all the same. And what we see, I think, from this, I think what we end up seeing in the events that take place pretty soon is where this favor game, this favoritism, this partiality then creates some problems. And I wonder how many issues, how many conflicts, how many arguments or emotions were affected throughout their lives and relationships that aren't revealed here in the scriptures. It'd be nice to kind of know more of the home life and the attitudes and the relationships of Isaac and Rebekah, Esau and Jacob, and to see how maybe more of this favoritism played out in their daily lives. I don't know. We're not told a lot about that, but I think it's interesting that we are specifically told in verse 28 that Isaac and Rebekah each had a favorite. Now, I don't think that is to say that Isaac did not love Jacob or Rebekah did not love Esau, but there clearly was a level of love, a level of interest, a level of preference given to them, and it does not go well. And I can't imagine it really creating and stimulating and a healthy home and family environment. We know that even today. We should know that, and something we should learn as parents and from other examples throughout the Bible is that when we play the favorite game, when we begin to show partiality and give preferential treatment or attention or love, it never ends well. It creates conflicts, it creates problems. It also got me thinking, when I was thinking about this, kind of a broader lesson and application from this, not just, parents showing favoritism towards their children, but really in all relationships, whether in the home, whether in society, in the workplace, neighbors, whatever the case may be. I mean, this isn't to say that we're not going to find people that we're closer to or that we have more interests in common. I mean, that's not the point here. The point is something that I think God even talks about often throughout His Word, is telling us not to show partiality. I mean, that is one of the biggest lessons, I think, that God has tried to teach His people throughout the history of mankind, is not showing partiality. Not giving unfair prejudice, preference, favoritism towards some to the neglect of others. We are to love all as ourselves, to love your neighbor as yourself. But when we start playing into these favorite games, in these showing partiality, and it causes so many issues. Problems, conflict, situations that can come up. And I think that is the general, kind of broader lesson we can take away from this, is this idea of favoritism, partiality, prejudice, in any kind of context, to where it is neglecting others to some extent, is not good. It is not healthy. It is not helpful. And it is not the way God wants us to act. And so let's continue to work on that. Let's continue to examine our own lives and relationships and make sure that we are not guilty of showing favoritism, partiality, any of these kinds of things, but to love one another as ourselves. Love our spouse, love our children, love our neighbors, love everybody the way God does. Something to think about this week, something to meditate on, something I think we all need to be reminded of from time to time. God bless.